Hey, what is up YouTube? My name is David and welcome to my channel, Thrash Till Death 555. And it is that time of the year, folks. It is time for me to do my favorite albums of 2019. So, this has been a great year for music. We've had a ton of killer releases come out this year. And yeah, it's time to go ahead and talk about them. So, a couple of things before we get started here. This is going to be a top 50 this year, 10 albums per video. It'll probably, if I had to take a guess, probably come out to be about 4 or 5. The top 5 will be its own separate video. And I own most of this stuff physically, but there are a couple releases on this list that I do not own a physical copy of. So when I get to those, they will still be mentioned. I just won't go into them as much detail as the others. Also, another thing I wanted to add is 2019 was also a great year for shows for me. I saw a ton of great shows this year. Just a ton of just really high class acts that I never really thought I would get to see, honestly. To name a few standouts, I got to see Acid Witch this year, which was fucking awesome. I got to see King Diamond. I got to see Blood Incantation and Necrot. Unfortunately, I did not get to catch the Blood Incantation and Immolation tour, which would have been really cool. But, nonetheless, I still did get to see Blood Incantation for my first time. I got to see Between the Bear to Me for my first time this year. Got to see Sanctuary for a second time. There's just so many good concerts this year. It was unbelievable. I had a blast. So, yeah. So, all right. Now I'm going to... one more thing to say before we get into this list is this is my list. It is not yours. These are my opinions, not yours. If you don't like something on this list or you don't think something should be here or you have any problem with this list whatsoever, too bad. It's not going to change anything. However, I will say if there is something missing from this list that you felt like I should check out or that I would like, feel free to put it in the comments and let me know. I'm always... willing to hear you guys out and let you know, or to hear what recommendations you have for me. Yeah, sorry about that. So yeah, and feel free to tell me what 2019 albums stood out to you and what albums you enjoyed this year. So yeah, always like hearing your comments and seeing what you guys have to say. All right, I'm rambling. I'm going to shut up now. We're going to go ahead and get into this list. To start off, we're going to go with Pounder with Uncivilized. This is released on Hell's Headbangers. This is another project from Matt Harvey, and this time he is showing us his love for traditional heavy metal. There's a good mix of speed metal on here. There's this, 2 ballads that have kind of like a hair metal sort of vibe. He's kind of just, showing his love for heavy metal as a whole here. Good musicianship on here, good songwriting, everything's memorable. A couple of standout tracks on here for me were The Evil One, Fuck Off and Die, and the title track Uncivilized. I enjoy anything that Matt Harvey puts his name to. I really feel like he is one of the treasures in the metal scene today, and albums like this really, really showcase that. So, yeah, Pounder, Uncivilized, great album. Next up, Candlemass, The Door to Doom, released on Napalm Records. So you guys already know how much I've been just obsessing over Candlemass this year. I've pretty much gone through their entire discography at this point. I only have 1 or 2 albums to check out. But I obviously love this album. It's on this list. But just after going back and listening to everything else, this just doesn't catch me quite as much as the early material does. And I'm talking about from Epicus all the way to Tales of Creation and including the stuff that they did with Robert Lowe. But it is still very solid Candlemass. Candlemass has never really put a truly bad album out, and this is no exception. The standout track for me on here is definitely Astralis, the Great Octopus, but the Omega Circle and Black Trinity are standouts as well. Really cool solos on here, awesome riffs, still a classic Candlemass doom metal album that is well worth your time. So yeah, Candlemass, The Door to Doom. Next up, we go to Astronoid with their second full-length, self-titled. This is released on Blood Music, once again. Astronoid, I got to see them open for Between the Buried and Me this year. Great band, great live act. I would definitely go see them again. This is just a really beautiful album of atmospheric, ambient, progressive at times, post-metal, mixed with shoegaze. That's the best way I know to describe it. A lot of people label it as post-black, but I tend to disagree with that. I don't think it's post-black at all. But yeah, just really soothing, relaxing, just really, really cool stuff. Highly, highly recommended. Astronoid. And next up, we go to Hans Grossmann with Apophenia. This is his third solo album. If you know anything about Hans Grossmann, you should know what to expect. Just really high caliber, technical, progressive death metal. A lot of similar vibes to Obscura and Alkaloid. As expected, his drumming is fantastic. Lots of really cool guest spots on this album for all the different tracks. An album that I didn't really keep listening to as later in the year as much as I did other stuff, but still felt like it had to be here without question. So yeah, Hans Grossmann, Apophenia. Whoops. And next up, we're going to go to Haunt with If Icarus Could Fly. Once again, released on Shadow Kingdom Records. Trevor Church, I really feel like his vocals have gotten a lot better here. This is just another solid traditional heavy metal album that came out this year. That was a year that was full of great traditional heavy metal albums. And while there are many that I thought were miles ahead of this is still really, really good stuff. Really enjoy Haunt. Always looking forward to what they do next. They have an album coming out next year, so I'm very eager to hear that. Good songs, memorable, catchy, cool riffs, just high quality traditional heavy metal. If that's what you're looking for, you're gonna get it here. So yeah, Haunt with If Icarus Could Fly. Okay, and now we are coming to a release that I don't own physically. This is Noisem with Cease to Exist. And just yesterday, I found out this is apparently considered an EP and not a full length, but I don't care. It's been here forever. I'm keeping it here. So Noisem, Cease to Exist, a very, very cool mix of death metal, thrash, and grindcore. Imagine like Carcass and Exhumed and or Creator, Carcass, Exhumed, and Repulsion all thrown into a blender. Just this stuff is just fucking in your face. It will pummel you into the ground. It's just the intensity and aggression does not let up for the entire 21 minutes that this release is. Vicious, just awesome. Yeah, Noisem, Cease to Exist. And next up, we're going to go to Contrarian with Their Worm Never Dies. This is released on Willowtip Records. I ended up checking this out because I was watching Banger TV on YouTube. Blaine Smith was doing one of his Metal Monthly videos, and it piqued my interest. I decided to go check it out. And I was very pleased with what I heard. This is a very cool, progressive death metal. Very much in the vein of the later Pestilence, later Death, Cynic. So that 90s period of technical, progressive death metal. That's what you're getting here. Great musicianship, very good songs, very good writing. Love the production. Yeah, very, very cool stuff. Contrarian, Their Worm Never Dies. And let me take a drink 1 second. I'm going to be doing a lot of talking tonight. Next up, Periphery, before we go to that, next up is Illimitable Dolor with Leaden Light. This is a funeral doom band. I do not remember where they're from at the moment, but I loved their debut full length that came out in 2017, which was just self-titled. This is just excellent funeral doom that has a lot of beauty and melody, more so than you hear in a lot of other funeral doom. Not saying it's ever never present in other funeral doom, but it's something you don't hear quite as much as they put into it for this release. Lots of great slow dirges, just a range of emotions going from sad and somber to angry to just, yeah, awesome transitions. Just an amazing Funeral Doom album. If you're into Funeral Doom, definitely don't skip on this one. So Illimitable Dolor with Leaden Light. Okay, now, next up we go to Periphery 4 with Hail Stan. This is released on their own label, 3 Dot Recordings. They just started it this year. So, I love everything Periphery does. One of my all-time, one of the best progressive metal bands going today, if you ask me. Even though I know this is like the gent progressive metalcore, call it whatever the fuck you want. Excellent technical musicianship on here, even though this is their least technical album yet. Really brings back the experimentation of Juggernaut, but just some of the most aggressive stuff they put out in a long time. Going from Reptile to Blood Eagle to Church Burner, the intensity just does not let up. So many great riffs on here, great songwriting, very good production. Spencer and Matt, the drummer and the singer, I feel like really shine on this. I mean, every member shines on this, but I feel like Spencer and Matt they really went for it on this album and just went completely off the rails and just killed it with their performances on this. But amazing album. I love everything Periphery does. I can't wait to see what they do after this. I just have nothing good to say, but good things to say about these guys. Yeah, Periphery 4, Hail Stan. Awesome. And this was also an album that really fought for the top 5 spot, but unfortunately it just got beat out by, some other things. So, but yeah, amazing. Periphery 4, Hail Stan. Gotta love that title. Fucking goofballs. They got a great sense of humor. Next up, the final thing we're going to talk about on this, on part 1 of this video is Enter Arma with Sulphur English. This is their 4th full length. Hold on, I'm getting a bloop on Steam. Let me mute that real quick. Sorry about that. This is their 4th full length, once again released on Relapse Records. Enter Arma is a band that's very difficult to categorize. You can't just put them into one genre. They're kind of known as being like a different sort of God, what's the band I'm thinking of? Neurosis. They get compared a lot to Neurosis. Something I tend to agree with, but I actually prefer these guys over Neurosis. Just overall, just their just overall sound I prefer over Neurosis. But yeah, so many different genres blended and thrown in here. There's death metal in here. There's doom metal, post metal, sludge, black metal. There's some southern rock influences that creep in through the guitar work on here. Just so many interesting and great transitions throughout this album. It's an absolute musical journey, but it's an absolute spectacle. Enter Arma are a very talented band and just one of the more interesting and standout acts in extreme metal today, I feel. And their drummer is absolutely brilliant. Insane drumming on this. I think he's one of the best drummers in extreme metal today. I've seen these guys live once. Saw them with Paul Bear. My bad. Yeah, I saw them with Paul Bear. An absolutely amazing band. If you've never gotten a chance to see them live, if you get a chance to, definitely do so. But yeah, Enter Arma, Sulphur English. Alright guys, and that is going to do it for part 1 of my favorite albums of 2019. So I hope to see you guys come back for the rest of these videos. Hope you enjoy it, and as I previously stated, be sure to leave what albums you enjoyed this year in the comments. Can't wait to hear about it. So yeah, see you for part 2 soon. Take it easy.